All right, well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Greg Clay, host of Purpose Driven Pivot, and we are in store for a very, very exciting interview with someone that is a C-suite executive in one of the hottest Black brands, not just in the country, but across the world. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in for a treat today. I've got Eric Heyward, the Chief Operating Officer of Talley and Twine. If you have not heard of the brand, you will certainly become more familiar with the brand after this interview. And so again, folks, we are live via Facebook and also on Zoom. Be sure to check out all of our content at gregclay.com/purpose-driven-pivot. And as just a reminder, this is a year-long series that we started back in June, and we're having a culminating activity in June of 2021, hopefully with some Talley and Twine all over the place. So as you can see, I'm rocking the Friends of Fam. Shout out to FAMU, because our guest is a HBCU alum of the Albany State University.
Absolutely.
So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Eric Heyward. Eric, how you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for having me. This is a great honor being on your show. Saw and heard a lot of good things about you.
No, man, hey, appreciate it, man. I hope they stay good. I hope they get the great, just mature into great things.
That's right.
But folks, Eric is not just an executive at Talley and Twine. He's a family man. We share a mutual respect for the game of golf. He has a phenomenal story, man. He's a community guy. He leans into politics as well. So he's a real life Renaissance man, for lack of a better term, when it comes to everything that folks are doing and leaning in as we close out 2020 and lead into 2021. And so I wanted to start really, Eric, by giving the folks that are watching some type of glimpse into like where you're from, where you live right now, and then we'll jump into kind of your journey leading up to Talley and Twine, because I know you made a lot of pivots along the way in aligning your work with your purpose, man, which is just a beautiful story that I'm excited to hear as well. And so, Eric, have at it, man. Tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Yes, so I am from Savannah, Georgia. Graduated in 2000 from Beach High. Give shouts out to Savannah. Went to Albany State down in Southwest Georgia.
We got to shout out to Mayor of Savannah as well, man. What up, man?
Man.
He's rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
Down, man.
Yeah, he is. He's doing wonderful things down there. How he handled COVID and all the wonderful things that he's doing. That's good to see down there.
Mm-hmm.
So went to Albany State, graduate in Albany State from 2005, went to the military, did that for a while, about 8 years, student officer. Left there, went to corporate America, started a stint down in Aflac in Columbus, Georgia, doing some project management, some business systems analysis type work. Then
how'd
came
you
up
like
to
Columbus, man. Shout out to Columbus.
So Columbus was interesting. I worked for one of the biggest companies there, Aflac. So it was, the military, Aflac, and I felt at home. They treat you really good down there, but it's still corporate America,
Sure.
So I left Columbus to come up to Atlanta, where I was, chasing the woman of my dreams, now my wife, and went to grad school at Georgia Tech. And came up here and did a little stint at some merchant services company, Elevon, and then started consulting and really love consulting. I worked for a boutique consulting company and got exposure into the Fortune 100 companies of Atlanta at Cox, at Coke, at Equifax. And got a lot of exposure into big box consulting and going into places where people are much more senior than you, and you're there to try to get them to change their direction and go a different way. So that was interesting, taught me a lot. And then I pivoted to be an entrepreneur. Now, during that route, that is my career route, right? That is what I normally say in an interview and how I go there. But there's also this entrepreneurial route this just didn't happen. I didn't just wake up one day and say, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur, and here it goes. So, I can go back to, postgraduate from my entrepreneurial journey and go into, companies that started. All Free Atlanta was a website. Randy and I, back in 2005, moved up to Atlanta, and Randy is actually the CEO and a co-owner of Talley and Twine.
Shout out to Randy, indeed.
Yep, that's right. And we started thinking about companies then, and these fledgling ideas to try to make something happen. From there, I've been in government contracting, in the emerging technologies, providing services through IBM and Microsoft, to trying to start a company doing group purchasing for a conglomerate of hospitals for IT services, and group purchasing, doing those things through VHA. And learned a lot through those companies' successes and from failures. And, all of those companies are no longer alive. Also did a truck. I invested in a 18-wheeler and ran a transportation company. That was short-lived, but, all of those things have prepared me to be an entrepreneur. Those failures are more important than any kind of successes that I've had so far, actually.
Man, listen, now all of the experiences that you just mentioned, from advising Fortune 100 companies and the leaders within them, to taking a risk and this tandem line of entrepreneurship along the way. Now, Eric, that's a lot, man. That's a lot. Like what you just mentioned, I didn't even know you got into the government contracting space, which is it's very detailed. Your ducks got to be in a row in a very kind of different way. I think about my friends that are like, GSA type folks that are in that space as well. To have that diversity of experience, like, was that something from the onset, like after you left, Albany, Georgia Tech? What was your major or your graduate discipline at Georgia Tech?
So I was a program management, a master's in program management. And really, actually, in construction management. My father owns an architecture firm down in Savannah. And the intent was because he is an entrepreneur. I grew up under his, this was back where architects had these T-squares, where they had the big board. And my dad, just like me, he would go to work, Georgia Southern or, wherever he was working at the time, and he always had his other projects. So, I would, spend the afternoon under his drawing table doing my homework. And I never thought that was out of the ordinary. So when throughout my journey, going 9 to 5, and then after, I put the kids to bed, you fire up the laptop and you work until 12 o'clock and you do it all over again at 5 o'clock the next day. And that was how I thought, life was just supposed to be until you got to where you wanted to be. So those things were really instilled in entrepreneurship was instilled in me at a very young age. My uncle owns, several properties in Savannah. He had a lawn care service that I used to help with in the summertime, coming back from school, doing all of those things. And that was probably my first growth. So not only do I like to help entrepreneurs, I like to help entrepreneurs scale their businesses. And he was going around, cutting and taking these checks. And I was like, hey, you have a database on all of these people? Do you know who all he just was going out and cutting grass. And, we kind of structured his business. That's right. He had inflatables and all of that stuff. So we kind of got that stuff together and got control of it and let it go. So at a very early age, I was exposed to entrepreneurship.
Now, when you decided to make the full-time leap, what type of conversations were you having with family members at that time? Was it, get a little bit more experience, or was it just press the gas and go?
So it was always wait, right? It was always when this next thing popped, right? It's always, it's okay to take the risk when it's my time. When all I'm sacrificing is my own time, that's one thing. And I had another check coming in. I had, healthcare. I had all of those things, and life was good. But really, when it comes down and the rubber meets the road, you have to choose. You have to be either 100% entrepreneur, or you can't. Now, I found that the easiest way for me to jump in entrepreneurship was to attach myself to a company that was already found a product fit.
Sure.
You know, and starting something from scratch wasn't really my skill set, you know, but scaling ideas that these wonderful entrepreneurs and wonderful founders have to that next level was. You know, so it took me a while to get that. And I always have a partner. I always tell entrepreneurs, you need a partner. You know, you don't go alone at yourself. You know, you need someone to cover your blind spots. You need someone that's strong at your weaknesses. You know, it takes two. It takes two in a marriage. It takes two on a team. You know, there's a team aspect that's so valuable that you're doing your company a disservice if you don't have a solid team behind you.
That's real. I know a lot of entrepreneurs out there just kind of, you know, they're solo, wild, wild west, got guns, got bullets, and just kind of going out. That's really strong advice, man.
Yeah. And it is, you know, you need to get out there and see what you need to, especially when it's your idea. You have to have some proof of concept. You kind of need to prove your idea. Once you prove your idea, and once you can prove that you can generate some revenue, you know, proving ideas commercialization too, not just, you know, having one-off, you know, buy, repeatability and commercialization. You know, once you kind of get there, you know, as soon as you get there, you need to start bringing in other people to diversify your thought, diversify your plan of action, and help you execute on your vision.
Wow. Now, so again, like being raised in this entrepreneurial environment, having all of these really awesome executive type experiences, like the week you decided to do it, you said, hey, I'm completely transitioning over. Was it something that when you came back to, you know, Savannah and the family and talking about things, you know, the push that was there after you decided, after you made up your mind and said, hey, Randy, let's get to it, you know, what was that like for you?
So it was a force, actually. So I've been with Talley and Twine. So let me give you some context on my relationship with Talley and Twine. Randy and I were college roommates at Albany State and stayed really close friends all the way through his journey. He got to a point about 6 years ago where he was trying to find a watch and find a brand and find a product, you know, that he can push, that he can take out the market. And so I was there through that journey from afar, from the peripherals, you know, from, you know, adding my little 2 cents and talking as a friend. So I wasn't just new to that. And so we started working here about 1.5 years ago. Just was like, he got to the point that I need some help. So I was like, all right, let me just help you out. Whatever that is, you know, and that's that Renaissance man, that's that generalization that allows you to be able to find the holes in the company and be able to plug them with your skill set. So I just started doing that, and I was doing that in parallel with my day job. And something in my personal life happened that one of my really good friends passed away suddenly. And that really woke me up. That was, you know, hey, what's your legacy? What are you leaving behind? What are you giving to your family? What are you giving to your grandkids? You know, and is this your passion? Is just making money and going along life, what you want to do? So that jarred me, and then I immediately stopped consulting. So that was in April and July of 20, I guess that was 18. I stopped consulting. My head wasn't in it. You know, I wasn't feeling the love from the clients, you know, because they were my clients. I didn't work for them. They didn't care about my emotional state. They didn't care about, you know, those things. I was a hired gun, you know, which I excelled at. But I wanted a little bit more connection to what I was doing.
It's a good word.
So I left there, and then I did a few stints at, you know, some other companies just to buy my time. And at this time I was doing the truck, my 18-wheeler. So we just bought the truck. That was demanding a lot more of my time. So I did that. And another thing I'll tell entrepreneurs is don't be scared to pivot. You know, so the truck, we were bleeding money from that. You know, we were having hard times finding drivers. We were having a hard time finding loads, consistent loads, and all of those things. And at a certain point, it just didn't make sense. So, you know, that was 9 months. I gave that 9 months. I wanted to give it a year, but 9 months was good enough that where I knew that this wasn't going to work without significant investment, financial investment on my family's behalf. So at that time, we quickly pivoted from there. And I drilled down in the Talley and Twine. That was my entrepreneurial fix. And then COVID happened. And as a consultant at, you know, a large company, one of the things, you know, you're the first one to get cut. Now I needed that. We were already in a position a year ago for me to quit my job. We were already there. You know, I could have quit a year ago, you know. However, it's that fear of, you know, being the head of your household, being the head of your family that, you know, refrain you from doing that.
It's
now,
a different
and
type
the
of
family
safety net. I mean, if you got two boys.
2 boys, yep.
2 boys, a
6 and
wife,
8.
that's a different type of decision to make being, you know, really Black in business, right?
That's right. That's right.
This is different and I think a lot of people are growing to understand that now with this temperature around Black business, but certainly want to make that point known for viewers that, hey, that safety net, sometimes if it's only got one hole in it, you're scared to drop.
That's right. And that's what showed me. So people feel like your corporate job has a safety net. But it doesn't, you know. I mean, extenuating circumstances happen to these companies all the time. You know, 2008, now companies come and go, people get laid off, companies go through natural annual cycles of layoffs. You know, nothing's guaranteed. I've seen someone 12 years, blood, sweat, and tears, and they walked them out the door the same day because they just had a duplicate, you know, job function.
I've heard, you know, so many in the last, call it, I mean, even, you know, COVID's been happening for quite some time, call it the last 2 months, 60 days. Man, there are a lot of folks that are looking at, you know, the end of year revenues, and while things will be different, right? The companies, you know, they're just making very different types of decisions nowadays, impacting, it's certainly happening in Atlanta, but even people that I know that are based out of Atlanta that do, you know, work across the country. It's just a different type of scenario for folks and their families right now, right?
That's right. And I tell folks is when you can believe that you can generate revenue yourself. And that takes some time. That's not something that you just wake up and do. Right? You need to prove that first before you transition out of comfort into the wilderness. You know, and I reached that point about a year ago, year and a half ago, that we could generate revenue to support my standard of living. And then we just took a lot of cuts.
Golfing and all, right?
Golfing and all. I'm a cheap golfer, man. I'm you know, I get the hot deals on Golf Now. You know,
I'm the same way. I'm trying to hang with my guys, man. We're like, so we played Lanier, and Lanier is like, you know, $100 a round. Good time, yeah. Great views. They lost a lot of golf balls, but still a good time, right? Yeah. And some people say, hey, right. $100 a round, Greg, what are you talking about? I'm like, look, yeah, it's different.
Nothing over 40. If I can stay under 40, I mean, I'm good. You know, I will play 55, but I play with some guys, they love to play at Wolf Creek.
That's a $75 round. Oh, man, and Wolf Creek, man, we got to talk offline about Wolf Creek, my friend.
So, yes, we do. Yes, we do need to talk offline about Wolf Creek. So I have some good folks down in South Fulton, so maybe we'll see something happen down there.
Indeed. And so let's talk about the journey in the Talley and Twine. I know you got one on.
Yes, that's right. Yes. So before I do that, how did you learn about Talley and Twine?
So, you know, I was into timepieces heavy in college. You know, I'll tell a story, man, and my friends know, but, you know, for people that even heard my story before, man, I was one of those guys working 3 jobs. One of those jobs at one particular time, in addition to the graveyard shift, I was working from midnight to 8, and then interning to 9 to 5. I was working at JCPenney. And JCPenney, you know, we were selling jewelry. I was a jewelry salesman at JCPenney in Tallahassee. And being in the mix, selling certain types of brands of watches, just being close to those things, I got intrigued by, just wearing different types of timepieces. And so that was the peak in which I was wearing watches a lot. I was losing them a lot too, like shades or frames. Man, I'll be losing them so much, man. And so even investing in them, had this roller coaster to it. Fast forward to now where I was talking to my wife and I said, I really, really want a nice timepiece and get back into it. Right? As things have kind of slowed down, you kind of think about the things that you really, really used to enjoy. And I'm not a really big material person, man. Like I could wear this every day, man. Shout out to the team. And so it was one of those things where I started to go on this journey and researching awesome brands. And Talley and Twine was one of the ones that I found. Black-owned business, Black-owned brand. And to be 100% candid with you, Eric, I hadn't heard a lot about the brand before starting to do that research. But as I've gotten to know and talk to people, even familiar with it, or people that might, see the watch. I mean, I've run into brothers, and we talked about this a little bit pre-show. I run into guys, man, and they see the Talley on my wrist, and they might have a Rolex. I say, bro, you need to swap that Rolex out. What you got? That's right. I didn't ask you what you had on. You asked me what I had on.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
If you're watching this and you got your Rolex on, like, two brothers with Tallies on right here. You need to go and swap that thing on out, man. But nevertheless, man, it was one where I went through kind of this customer discovery from being a consumer, and I just fell in love with the brand, like from even the ones with the leather bands. Like it is. You guys have been very, very intentional about quality. Have been very, very intentional about the way in which you promote it as well. And even for the people that I've seen out in the streets that wear the brand, like we'll see each other's kind of watches, even if you're not close to someone, especially during COVID, 6 feet away, you can kind of tell it's a Talley and Twine. And it's been an awesome experience, man. And I've seen a number of different things. We'll talk about what y'all got coming up next a little bit later on as we kind of still stay on Eric and his career. But that was my introduction into Talley, and the packaging, the branding, the story. Listen, the narrative associated with the intersection, in Virginia, right? Virginia?
Yes, that's right. Virginia, Portsmouth, Virginia. That's right.
And listen, I think it just checks so many different boxes for me, and the affordability, right? It's a quality timepiece for sure. Stands up against other pieces that it's a big market, but nonetheless, and not the only Black-owned timepiece company. That's right. But it's one of those things, man, where I really hope that folks that want to have a nice timepiece, or whether it's casual, whether it's something that you throw on with your tuxedo and everything in between, that they take a look at what you guys have been building and the narrative and the story around it that's connecting people.
That's right. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, and
that was unsolicited, unpaid, man.
That's right. You nailed it, and that resonates with all of our customers. We have a story. You can go and you have a connection with the brand. So you're a huge brand ambassador for us, right? And that is what trapped me a long time, outside of that being one of my best friends and helping him out. Like he is a marketing genius to me, and layering the brands. We go over this all the time, especially in our development of our new brand, which we'll talk about. But the levels of granularity and the different layers within the brand, right? And stepping up through those layers is once you understand, like, oh, Talley and Twine, Black-owned. Quality watches, dope design. Wow. Whoa, wonderful customer service, packaging elements. Whoa, the deeper story, the founder story, the intersection, the 7. There's so many layers within that keeps you discovering with us. And I'll go all the way back to why this pivot and what happened in this pivot. And I like to tell not only entrepreneurs, but people that's professionals in our community that's looking to help Black professionals, right? Black professionals looking to help Black companies, right? Is not just being a consumer, right? It's taking our talents that we have and helping our small businesses. So I did that, and
That's good.
I just started helping him, and the team. And it was just having status meetings. Like, let's talk 2 times a week. What's going on today? What are your next, what are you going to do in the next 24 hours? What did you do the last 24 hours? And really understand the rhythm of the business. Once I understood the rhythm of the business, then I can say, okay, how do we really expand and increase revenue, expand our reach?
Can I jump in there? Because
Yep.
understanding man, I got some good stuff on this paper already. We hadn't even hit the halfway mark. The rhythm as a professional with so many different layered experiences, and not just the experiences, but you made a career of providing candid advice to executives at all levels, right?
That's right.
You understand the rhythm of the business with a friend that you've had. What were some of the tougher introductory conversations that you may have had? And you don't have to discuss, I'd say, too much, but to say, hey, bro, like, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I'm thinking. This is where we start.
So that's a really good question. And I started off soft, and I probably started off softer than I needed to.
That explains.
Because a lot of people have a lot of guardrails around their business, and are guarded, especially small businesses that don't want to let you see their flaws. But we started at a sense of trust, right? I didn't have to cross that trust barrier with Randy, with the founder, with the CEO, right? We already defaulted that trust. Now, and I was really sensitive in how I approached things, right? It wasn't, oh, you need to change this. Oh, you need to change this. Oh, you need to change this. It's like, what's your line of thinking behind that? Why did you do that? Maybe we can increasingly get better. And then I quickly found that it wasn't that he didn't know what to do, or he didn't think of these things. He didn't have the time or the resources to do it, right? He didn't have another brain to think about it, right? So it wasn't that I'm trying to control. I'm trying to enhance, right? I'm not trying to get into, and the things that get real soft that I'm real soft about is finances. What you're spending money on, how we're budgeting this, and the consultant in me taught me how you do that is by budgeting things, so it's not, don't let me see the budget of what you already spent the last 6 years or the last year or the last month. Like, okay, next month, this is our budget. This is our revenue. This is our operating costs. Let's stay within these guidelines, and let's look at those next month to make sure we hit those in our areas.
That's good, Eric. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And that is how you get that trust. That's how you weave into those conversations that may be a little difficult. And don't even start talking about equity and profit sharing and all of those type things. Those are the difficult things. And then now is like, okay, here's some paperwork and here's a contract. And those are things that, were tougher to get to than just the operating of the business.
Yeah. Your ability to immediately add value. And I could imagine, and not speaking for, the folks that were on the team, because I imagine it was more than just, the CEO and who you were conversing with Randy. You're providing this certain type of advice. It could be different. It could be received in a different way from even others around it. How'd you navigate through that?
That's right. Well, a lot of people think the teams are bigger than it really is. So these are, as far as decision makers, so we have people that perform tasks that we ask them to do, right? They're performing tactical tasks, and those are good. But having another thinker, right, that is setting their strategic direction or helping you think through solutions is a closed room, right? That's a smaller group. Gotcha. And then how you execute on there is just, project management 101, right? It's just relationship management 101 and how you deal with peers and subordinates and those type things. But as far as That's another thing. I didn't have to go through all this bureaucracy. I didn't have to go to my boss and my boss's boss and have some presentation and go to this VP and spend so much time wasted. And I started doing that, until I realized that, okay, I was doing these quarterly reports. It looked nice and I was spending a lot of time on that. But the meat of this is understanding whether we hit our goals or not, understanding what our roadmap is for the next quarter, understanding what profit loss is. Like, that's the meat. What kind of graphic I put on the page or how this scoreboard or scorecard looks, is no value in that. So I did have to kind of change my mindset in boiling what I learned in corporate America, in this big honking bureaucracy, boil it all the way down to what's really important, what's value added, and what's the next thing. There's a lot of things that we could be doing that's value add. There's a lot of things that we could be doing that add revenue to the company. A lot of things that we could be doing that cut some of the operating costs. But is it the most important thing for the next week, month, quarter? If not, let's not. Our resources are the most important thing for us right now and in the very near future.
Good. So you got, the introduction where you're kind of sitting in, you pick up your rhythm, understanding the culture of things that are happening. You get to this point to where, hey, you ink the deal, right, with your friend. Y'all seen the best of times and worst of times with each other.
Yeah.
You talked about this culture around executives and lending our talents to, Black businesses, not just our dollars on the consumer side. You ink that deal, Eric, man. How does that feel when you're locked and loaded with your boy? Tell us how that feels, man. And I know as brothers, man, I get goosebumps even thinking about it as I'm in this space, even working on some new stuff, in the golf space with friends, new ventures with friends. Like, how does that feel, man? When you say, look, we ink this thing, we're ready to go.
It's nothing like it. It's nothing like having a job that's your passion with one of your best friends where you can be your unapologetic self 100% of the time, right? Not having to put on this mask, right? People talk about Atlanta traffic. Atlanta traffic is time me, you have to put on a lot of makeup, in that hour to go into these Fortune 100 companies or these corporate jobs or these mid-market, jobs that we have and transform yourself, whether we like it or not, it is what it is.
Compromise yourself too.
Compromise yourself. Compromise how you talk, what you say, fear of being wrong, all of these things that, we have these hangups about in corporate America where you can't be free. So working with someone, and I'll tell you, this is the perfect story on how wonderful this is, Randy and I were working on something and something didn't go right. And, we were talking with each other and he was coming off a little bit more aggressive than normal. And if I was in corporate America, I would have taken that a certain way. I didn't know where that would have generated from. Is it something work related that where, maybe you feel like you need to have control of that. Maybe you feel like you lost control of that, or maybe, that wasn't the right thing from a operations perspective, or is it something else under that makes me act a certain way, right? When that happened, I defaulted at, let me help resolve these feelings, right? And we got like right there, boom, 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 boom. Oh, this is why next time we'll do this. It was wonderful, right? Before that would have been, I would have went home upset. That person may have went home upset. It would have been some confrontation. There's a week, 2 weeks, posturing and all of these things that
we've all seen that and done that.
That's right. So, and we probably could have got to a resolution to solve that problem in 10 minutes, as opposed to, feelings and anxieties and factions. And especially when you're talking about leaders in these companies, right? You have a team, and that team has a team, right? So when you start, giving those feelings and not wanting to work with another team and, causing friction.
And HR getting involved, boy.
Well, or even just operationally, you're not efficient, because you're not sharing, you're not trusting, you're not building a cohesive team. Those things that reduce the friction that, tend to generate value. So,
you struck a chord right there, though, Eric. I don't want to gloss over that. When you mention that you're not sharing, you're not trusting, you're really not, as a talented executive, able to be your best self, man.
That's right. That's right.
When
You utilize your resources.
Yeah, everything, man. That's really strong, man. I don't want to gloss over that, because being your best self when it's already kind of tough to generate revenue and you're trying to fight a market share in a space, whatever market you're in, and you're not able to be yourself, your best self, you start thinking about what else you could be doing.
Yeah. That's right. You have that trust, and I'm a team builder. That's one of the things I hold pride with, is having high functioning teams. Hiring the right people, recruiting the right people, integrating them, setting the right culture, knocking down friction points, and giving autonomy to the team. So those are the principles from my leadership style, that I'm definitely a servant leader, and I like to see myself as a servant leader. So those things where leaders get out the way, now I call back of the room leader. That we're back in my consultant days and my corporate America days. Now I'm an upfront leader, because we have a smaller footprint, smaller team, and I have to lead from the front. So being able to flex your leadership style also to what the situation dictates, is another one of those consulting things that helped me navigate through this transition too, and really give the company what it needed. And I'll circle back to, as we started, and we just started getting in a rhythm and setting that battle rhythm of operating from Talley and Twine. Then I started putting my project manager hat on and said, okay, what are some longer lead things that we need to start doing? How can we better run these campaigns? How can we better plan these things? What tasks, work breakdown structures, and, just the basic things that, leaders in our corporate America do all the time, right? And how do we budget this? And what resources do we need to do this? And what's the team makeup? And all of those type things. And then now let's take ourselves from a tactical perspective, and let's force ourselves for every Wednesday for an hour and a half. We're talking high level strategy. Where do we want to see ourselves in the beginning of 2021? What are our goals for 2021? Where's our strategic aims? Where are we setting? What's our roadmap look like? So staying diligent, not only from an operational perspective, but pulling ourselves out of the forest for a second and looking strategically have proved extremely valuable to us to have more reaction time to get things done. So that's how we evolved. And once we evolved, then we started hiring people to fill those gaps in what we were sucking up our time. And we're still in the process of fortifying our team. But that's kind of how the evolution started to get here. And now we're, 6 months, 9 months in the future of planning for things coming next year. So our sophistication of our campaigns, our sophistication of our email marketing, our sophistication of our ads, our sophistication in our partnerships, our sophistication in our operating and how we interact within the team is just exponentially getting better. And it's just like a baby, right? So these small companies are like babies. So when you're a baby, you grow quickly, right? Every week you see a child and it looks like they're just, sprouted up a foot. So small things, we grow really rapidly and exponentially, and you add a few of those force multipliers in there, and it mushrooms on itself. So that's kind of where we are, and got us to the point without pulling the curtain all the way open. That's kind of those are the phases that got us to 300% growth.
Man, you answered my next question so perfectly, and I could tell in the way you were talking about the experience how I was going to ask you around just this evolution of you as a leader within this new space. And bro, the energy that you're giving, the talking about what it is that you're doing, you answered that, man. I can already kind of tell, this space of being in, kind of your best self, right? Operating, even when you're tired, you're still passionate. Even when you're ready to go, you're still aligned with this mission and this vision, aside from all the other things or experiences that you've had in the past. Man, I hope that folks that are watching this saw the same thing I did. I mean, the evolution of one as a leader when they're on their purpose and pivoting into that and not being afraid of that. It's a beautiful thing. I can imagine, man. You're firing on all cylinders nowadays, man.
I am. And it took me a little minute. I had to understand what my purpose was. Right. I mean, that was some real deep self-reflection of what that meant to me, and trying to pigeonhole it into one thing, right? Some people say, "Oh, my purpose is educating kids. It's always been my purpose," and I have a lot of things that are extremely purposeful to me that drive me, and I want to share this. I took some time to really understand and what my purpose was, and I broke it up in three chunks. One is to earn, and that's generate generational wealth, and my wife and I were talking about this today, is not just for our kids, but for our grandkids, right? And our great grandkids. Like, I think we're at a point where we can start thinking about some of those things, and not just, a beneficiary on insurance, but an actual trust, right? What I'm saying? Just that flip of the switch there. And to give, right? Give my time, give my talents, give my resources to things.
That's give the second one, or give a part of it?
Give it the second one.
Okay,
so earn, give, and grow.
I got you. You didn't have to give us the grow yet. I just want to make sure I was right.
Okay, that's right. So giving it takes a lot of forms, right? From alumni organization to fraternity to boards to time efforts into building my community. And giving back to my community.
And people must know this too, because aside from being this high power executive, you are very involved in your community. We talked about politics and, this opportunity for folks to your point, while you can be in this lane, this ability to give your talent, even in politics or community service or board development, like that's real. That's real. Man.
That's right. So, and let me hone in on that give a little bit more. Is because I was at a point where I stopped the philanthropy because I didn't have enough money. Right, I didn't have the money that it would really take to really do something tangible. And I stopped saying, I was like, oh, that's a scapegoat. I can just give $20 or give $100 or give what that is. Yes, it's important to give those things, but what is most beneficial is my effort, my talent, my time is way more than I can give right now from a dollar amount. I'm going to get there, but right now it's my time. I spent a lot of time with Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, which fraternity I'm a member of. Like you said, politics, helping campaigns for Cobb County. Do those things. Also, Youth Golf League, which we just talked about in the pre-show. We're starting a youth golf league. Just like a basketball league or a football league, there's a sense of elitism when it comes to junior golf.
There are barriers. Oh boy, the barriers.
It's a ton of barriers, and it should not be those type of barriers. It should be just like any other sports league that you can bring your kids to, pay your $200, $250, and you practice 2 days a week and have a game on the weekend, or have a match on the weekend, or have a drive, chip, and putt on the weekend, right? And the barriers of entries are so low if you have the network to be able to talk. So that's giving my time, giving my energy, giving my resources and my network to fill a need that's in the community right now. I don't have to, I'm no 501c3, none of that stuff. I'm just doing something and providing, facilitating, you know, a golf league. You don't even have to know my name behind it, right? I'm trying to structure a team that where I can be more hands off of it, and that I can, you know, create a platform to kind of, you know, at least expose kids to some consistent golfing.
Man, that's
right?
that's
And
a beautiful
exposure
piece,
to
man.
golfing.
Before you give, you know, talk about grow, you know, you mentioned something when it comes to, hey, you don't have to have a budget or 501c3 to give, man. I've got
That's right.
some awesome relationships in education in Atlanta, and people ask me kind of all the time, say, Rick, how'd you, you know, meet so many of these people? And I call it this blinker attitude, right? It is one where if you're driving by a school and you're passionate about kids, you put your blinker on, right? You know, I know probably some of y'all got those high power cars where you know, you probably telling the car to put the blinker on. I don't know. Let's go with this money out here. But you put your blinker on and you turn into that school, and this is kind of pre-COVID, right? But if you go in there and say, hey, yo, I want to give back, and you sign the form, you can pass the background check, they're gonna say, when can you come back? And they're gonna find a place for you, whether it be mentoring, whether it be, you know, providing something for a career day. And so these opportunities to give people the courage and what you just said, to say, look, if this is your thing, don't let that waiting game be a barrier for what might be pushing you, or your faith might be pushing you in this space to be a servant, especially during these times for the holidays, bro, you know?
That's right. And you have to incorporate all of those things together, right? It's hard. We live busy lives. We have families. We have all of these things going on. I like to intertwine all of my stuff, right? My give, my earn, and my growth. So another passion that I have is growth, growing things. And right now, growing is manufacturing. Before it was gardening and all those type things, but now it's manufacturing.
You were growing in the garden, man. You had, you know, one of those urban gardens going.
Yeah, definitely. I plant a garden every year, you know, sometimes very successfully. Sometimes when I try new things, don't come out as wonderful, but I like cultivating the earth, you know. I like cultivating relationships, and I like, you know, cultivating, you know, companies. I like growing companies, or giving advice, or giving force multipliers to small companies. I spend a lot of time giving my resources, giving my thoughts to small businesses. You know, people reach out to me. I'm always available for a call. Like if somebody reach out to me, I'm gonna take your call. You know, even if it is, I'm just starting. I don't know what to do. It's like, okay, do this. It may be a quick call, you know, but I'm always taking calls because I want to see people get better. I want to see people have exposure to resources to be able to do things. I want to, you know, people at least sometimes just say and speak what your thoughts are, speak your vision, speak your, you know, a lot of people have these, oh, don't tell folks what you're doing. People are going, yeah, that's like, no, I'm yelling everything that I'm doing to the wings. I want everybody to hear it.
To the ancestors, to everybody.
Everybody, I'm speaking that into existence. Like, you know, I'm yelling it. So I really give a lot of time to, you know, talking to them. And that's how I met, not met, but re-engaged with Adam, you know, with Buttery Biscuits.
Shout out to the home team, man. Adam and
that's right.
They swinging for the fences, man. And as
that's right.
I absolutely, that's been a really good, one of my most popular interviews as well, because they got so much home team support, one, but two, they've got a great quality product. So shout out to Adam and the Jackson family for sure.
That's right. And just, you know, helping those guys out and how you think about this and how you grow and what's your next steps. And, you know, just another thing is entrepreneurs don't have accountability to anyone, right? So you say your customers, right? But that's hard. That's abstract, right? That, you know, yes, I know who my customers are. I see their names. I have communication with them, but it's still abstract, right? You're not going to get up in the morning and know that you have to do this mundane thing that has nothing to do with your customers. You know, I have to balance my book. So I have to do, you know, some of those tactical things that's highly important. But, you know, Adam, I'm going to call him, you know, hey, next week and say, hey, you know, how was sales this week? or, how was this, or how was that, or how, following up on some of the goals that we talked about that you want to get to. So just having that checkpoint that you have someone to talk through, that's going to make you, and I like to schedule those things so it's coming, right? So even if we don't have
the discipline associated.
That's a disciplined approach. So now you're preparing for our conversation. The value is your preparation for our conversation, less of what we're talking about, right? And then I just throw a few bits in there and a few nuggets and, follow back up. So
man, I try to listen, bro, we're going to have to put your Cash App on the screen because you are on fire, my friend.
Dropping jewels, man, dropping jewels.
That's beautiful, man. That is absolutely beautiful. So earn, give, and grow.
That's
so correct. I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there, man. I don't care what medium you put it out there, but either that's gonna be the audio book or that's gonna be the
there you go
memoir,
there you go.
Or I don't know what it's gonna be, but if we're talking 2 years from now and that hadn't manifested itself, I'm gonna be like, yo, what's going on with Ernie? The EGG, the egg. Ooh.
There you go. Ooh, there you go.
The egg, man.
There you go. Ooh, that is. That's right. Hatching and I like it. You just came up with something right there.
No, look, it ain't even from me. It's from I can't take that.
There you go.
Most high. When we talk about our faith, huh? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So that's all great stuff, man. So out of all the things that you are involved in and plugged into, I want to talk a little bit because we know that golf is sometimes a retreat. What are some of the other things that you do to just kind of unwind, man? Like with the family, is it family time? Is it,
Yeah, it's the family. I spend a lot of family time. I spend a lot of time with my kids, with my wife, and then I golf. And that's really my outlets. I don't need much. I live a simple life. I'm not and some friends, right? Going out. I do travel. We do travel quite a bit. COVID messed us up a lot this year, but we do try to go on a few trips a year. Kids are getting older, so they can start traveling together too. So that's one of the commitments that we have going forward with the family is to travel more. And if I can be with my family and play golf and go out for a beer, here and there, I'm really happy. Don't take much,
man, You just gave so many folk that I know hall pass into the life. We are simple men.
Simple men.
Beer time to time, golf. So why does golf take so long? 18 holes.
You got to get out there early, man. I get out there first thing smoking, and I'm home by 12. Sleep in. I'll be here for lunch.
Yeah, there it is. There it is, my man. So let's talk about things that are in the pipeline for what you're executing on. We talked a little bit about reference, 2021. Coming out the gate, what can people expect? Not just from Eric, but also Talley and Twine.
So a lot of things going on in 2021. From a Talley and Twine perspective, this is really a year of separating ourselves, right? We have already got a strong framework of where we are, but my goal is to separate ourselves from the crowd, from the noise, not just in our sector, in our industry, but from an e-commerce perspective. There is a lot of noise out there, a lot of small businesses out there, so it's time to kind of scale and scale beyond that. Is one of the big things. Two is just to get more sophisticated.
He put them on notice.
Yeah. I want to jump
through the screen.
Yeah. We've already, we already have a head start. We've already been doing this for the last 6 years, and this is not new. So we're at a point where we can capitalize on the push to e-commerce. We can capitalize on Black ownership, and we can kind of throw our weight around a little bit more in some of these partnerships and deals that's been coming our way. There's been a big push for Black partnerships from, major retailers that's been reaching out, major public figures reaching out, major brands reaching out to do partnerships and joint ventures with. But we can generate revenue ourselves, so we can be a little bit more selective in the deals that we do and the deals that we make. So those things are manifesting themselves into next year. So I'm excited about that. we're launching and we're entering Talley and Twine. Okay, this is fresh off the press. Like, this is coming super soon. Is we're entering into the golf world. So you think of luxury brand watches, you think about golf. You look at Rolex, you look at a PGA, you look at Tag and some of the things that they're doing. So we just signed a black golfer by the name of Willie Mack III as one of our exclusive brand ambassadors. Yep. So he is really making some noise out there on on some of these tours. The Florida tour, to be specific, he's going down in Jamaica and playing. He's at the top. He's usually in the top 5 out of hundreds and hundreds of people. This guy is a beast. He's shooting like, I got to check on him today, but yesterday he was 6 under. And 3 strokes out the lead in a 2-day tournament of like 200 people. So he is snapping. So we got some content that's coming out around that and entering into the golf community and start penetrating that community. We have some relationships to try to continue to penetrate into the sneaker community with some of the brand ambassadors that we have and some of our affiliates there. We have some Greek collections that's coming out. Our competitors can't do that, right? Our competitors that's not in that community, we can be a little bit more niche and more nuanced and serve our community in a different place where our competitors can't.
In a presidential, in a presidential way.
In a presidential race, that's right. Absolutely.
Not in a presidential way. Shout out to Congress.
In a presidential way. Gotcha. Yes, that's right. Absolutely.
Send her a little package up there, man. It's probably going to be screened 63 times. But it'll make it. That's right. We will, and it will have her pink and green on it too. So that's coming. We're really excited about that. So those are things on the Talley and Twine front. Some new products that will be that's in the works. Now we also we're launching another brand called Prepmore. Prepmore is luxury polo shirts that we will be launching in the middle to late January. Listen, man, us brothers, we love our polo shirts, man. I don't know if it's an Atlanta thing, I don't know if it's a Georgia thing, but man, listen, when you popping the collar or they button all the way up to the top. Listen, I'm gonna have to swap. I love to swap them out.
Yes.
Same way we do it. Let's swap them out.
That's right.
God bless them, but we gonna swap them out.
Get you a Prepmore. That's right. And we're talking about premium polos. I'm not talking about your, $30 polo. These are premium, high quality polos, Pima cotton down, sourced from Peru. Like we've done our homework. We have done our homework with not only the quality and the design of the polo shirt, but also the brand, the company, our voice. How we speak to our customer, who our customers are. So all of those things have allowed us to really jump out. Another thing is we already have a successful brand too, so we're not starting from scratch. So that insulates us from the rockiness of a startup, we have some infrastructure that we can supply to the next brand that we launch. So, the idea is to have multiple brands.
Ooh, we're going to be working
absolutely.
with you. You talking that talk. Talk that talk. Yeah. Keep talking. Just keep talking.
Yeah. So, the ultimate goal, and this is beyond 2021, is to have multiple brands under our umbrella, and have a brand conglomerate, of luxury Black brands, Black-owned brands, right? In a lot of different segments, and not just apparel or not just jewelry, but, any other things that are out there. So those things are exciting things on the horizon. And then I'm also excited about the Youth Golf League. I will give that another plug that we're going to have February 22nd at John A. White. We're going to have a clinic.
Southwest. That's my look.
That's right. Oh yeah. And most of our stuff is going to be centered around there. Yeah, John A. White.
We got to get that course too, man. We'll talk offline, but we got to get quality courses back on track. Because the land is there, the opportunities are there, but that concerted effort around unifying. And even our leverage politically to say, look, this is something that we've got to invest more dollars in. With my time in Kansas, particularly the Kansas City metro area, and even in Wichita, it was just a different type of public or muni course, municipal course, because you had more people that were golfing in maybe the elected officials and the practitioners there. I mean, the muni courses could compete with other types of
Yes,
courses because there are more eyeballs with the people that were cutting the resources that were golfers.
that's
I think
right.
it's very
That's right.
different here in the Atlanta metro area when I think of not just the city of Atlanta, but other, muni courses around. And so as we bring more people through this narrative to the table, because it isn't a new thing for us in golf in the area, it's really a resurgence because
That's
of
right.
what we know. And I think that's a thicker
That's
part of
right.
the story that needs to be told from how the golf courses were desegregated. Shout out to Hamilton E. Holmes and crew. Like, there's this
Yeah.
really rich narrative that I know we'll be able to tell associated with
Yes. Yeah. I really think it's time for us to have our own country club, right? And really, there is enough synergy in the Atlanta area
yes.
and the surrounding areas to really do something powerful like that. Especially if you can work out certain deals, and we can talk offline with that. But I think there is opportunity
I
to
hate to, I
unify
hate to keep
around
telling
that.
people we're gonna talk offline, but y'all listen, we cooking.
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is I'm just telling y'all, look, and people that are watching or will watch, you can cook too, right? You just got to be
Yeah.
willing to stand in the kitchen when it's 500 degrees. Don't come into the kitchen
That's right. That's right.
at
That's right.
250. Look, we ain't
That's
doing
right.
no.
That's right.
Look here, 500
Yeah.
degrees.
That's right. That's right. It's 500 degrees out here.
Well, you can't cook at 500. Maybe you know what I mean, y'all. Y'all know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah. We boiling around here.
Right. That's exactly what we're doing. Right. But Eric, man, I think that, man, you have certainly, as we come to the hour mark, this story around being an executive, being someone that's the passion associated with the work that you've been able to do, this portfolio of experiences that you have, now lending your talent to what you mentioned earlier, this legacy, this opportunity around legacy building in the space of business, in the space of what you call egg, the earn, growth, and the give. And all the things that you've been able to do as a leader, man, I think you're a shining example of not just what people can pivot into, but, man, just in how you're inspiring young folks coming behind, man. So congrats on everything, man. And don't let up.
Greatly appreciate that.
Don't let up, man.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it. It's I'm trying to come out of stealth mode. I've been in stealth mode for a long time, just working and grinding behind the scenes and turning away.
And sometimes that's
now,
needed. I think I'll say this:
yeah,
give yourself credit in that space because
yeah,
that's needed. I wouldn't want folks to say, well, being in stealth mode is a bad thing. I think give yourself that space, man, because listen, for everything I just heard, in what you're harvesting, going back to your agriculture experience.
That's right.
You plant those seeds, man. You stand there waiting for something to sprout up. Good luck.
That's
But
right.
you come back, you
That's
work
right.
the soil.
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let that be a part of the strong part of your narrative, man. You can't. I'm not gonna let you skate by that, man.
Yeah. So now I'm coming out of stealth mode a little bit to, I think sometimes you need credibility, and having experiences like this gives entrepreneurs and consultants, a little bit more credibility, where my credibility is not tied to the company that I work for anymore. It's, tied on what I've done and things that I am doing. But in order to do that, you have to share a little bit of that and get out of that comfort zone of just, working in the background. Sometimes you have to kind of peek your head up and say, hey, I'm here on an authentic kind of wave, right? And just go from there. So thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. This has been a wonderful conversation. It's very easy to talk to you. And I have a ton to share. So, if any of your listeners need to reach out, would like to reach out, I'm here, And
And
I'm willing to help.
how can they connect with you? Be sure you talk about, your handle, IG. You don't have to give your email address or phone number, please. But you ain't gonna do that because then you're gonna say, Greg, people keep hitting me up. Matter of fact, my inbox is on fire over here. People told me I need to start taking questions. Maybe. Shout out to Eric. Eric, I want to fam you with, man. He most recently said, Greg, you gotta do your thing. But other folks like Eric, man, that say, man, you gotta open this thing up. We'd be talking for 2 hours, yo. Eric got business to run, but I hear y'all, and I appreciate that for folks that have continuously tuned in. But let folks know where to connect with you outside this interview, Eric.
So the easiest place to find me is on LinkedIn, Eric Heyward. I'm there. My name, easy to find on LinkedIn. You can follow me on IG. That's eHeyward82. I do more stories there, but if you want to really get to me, LinkedIn is the place to go.
Good. Any last thoughts, man, as we kind of come to a close?
If you want to do it, just go out and do it. This is the time. We're out here, entrepreneurship, small businesses, medium-sized businesses, mom and pops, side hustle. All of those things are extremely valuable. Just do it. Just do something. If it fails, it fails. It's a learning experience. Tell folks about it. Be proud in your stuff. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of where you're going. And if it doesn't go right, it's fine. On to the next one. So, thank you again for having me, and I greatly appreciate your time.
Man, it's all good, man. Again, folks, you've been listening and watching Purpose Driven Pivot. And Eric is, not just laid out what legacy work looks like, but also the discipline, the experience, the dedication, and everything that goes into leveling up, not just in 2020, but 2021 and beyond. And so We're proud of you, man. Y'all representing the culture. I got to get me more, it's Christmas time, I don't know, maybe we raffle. I'll say raffle. I ain't gonna put your product out there, but maybe we figure out something, we'll figure out something to get more people tuned in. If
you got events or stuff like that, nonprofit stuff that you putting on, you want to, give a prize or something like that, definitely let me know.
My man, you said it. I'm messing with you. Maybe not one of these, but we'll figure something out, right?
Oh yeah. We got all kinds to fit what we need. We're out here to give beyond just profits and loss, man. We want to give to our community as a whole.
The real way. Well, all right, folks. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Y'all have a great rest of your day, and we'll see y'all on the next episode. All right, Eric.
Peace.